All right. Hello, everyone. Sam Quinton with Sinopa Publishing right here in Frankfort, Kentucky. I know this is a tragedy to have that like that, but I haven't gotten the frame I need for it yet. All right. So, welcome to Live at 9. It's Sunday, August 16th. We're going to take a look at this and see if everything is coming through okay. Cool. Sounds good on X, so I'm going to assume it's going to be good on YouTube. All right, everybody. So we're going to talk about a few things tonight. We're going to talk about some books, comics, role-playing games, crowdfunding, and basically just have a good time. Now, let me get the stream up here so the chat's showing. All right. What I'm going to do, something I don't normally do, is we're going to take and get in here, and we're going to attach a link to the Sinopa Publishing page on DriveThru. And the reason we're going to do that is because it's shameless self-promotion. So, guys, this will be in the chat. And then also that will keep the demo bots from populating anymore. There we go. So we don't look like we're more busy than we actually are. Oh, I've got a little bit of yogurt here because my blood sugar is a little low. So bear with me if I have to grab a snack here periodically. Now, a lot of you, people on the Kickstarter campaign who have not yet responded with their addresses. And once they finish their backer surveys, we'll be able to send them their copies as well. But this is Reign of Ages, issue 4, the next to last installment in the Blood and Stone introductory arc. This cover is by Aisha Ghul Senev. Really, really liking what she did with this. Really, really great work. And then, of course, the interior work's done by Nick Capone. This is one of our titles. And I wanted to bring that up right off the bat because some of you probably saw me on live stream earlier with my friends Larry and Max. And I say it just like that because they are friends. Granted, they're online friends, but we've been, interacting with each other for years. So I've got a high degree of confidence in that statement, right? All right, cool. And we were talking about some internet drama. Now, I don't normally get involved in that kind of thing, right? Not normally my cup of tea. But one of the people who was involved is a new comic creator. And I had messaged him earlier to see if he wanted to come on and, just talk and not talk about the drama he's involved in, but actually just talk about, or maybe the drama he was involved in, I guess should be a little more appropriate, or just talk really about crowdfunding, some how-to stuff, and maybe give a little bit of, a little boost in his knowledge base. Larry, how's it going, man? If you've got your eBay store with anything running on it, go ahead and throw the link in the chat so people can see it. We'll hopefully get some people to swing by and check out your store. Now, EV Comics has not responded to see if he'd be willing to show up tonight, but we're kind of going to save some space for him. So if he decides he wants to come, and we're going to come on and just, have a discussion with him. Now, to be clear, this is not to talk about the online drama, because personally I consider that largely a waste of time, taking time away from your creative endeavors. And we might speak to that. But beyond that, we're going to talk about things about crowdfunding, about fulfillment, about the business aspect of things, and maybe a little bit about the creative endeavors. And some other things we're going to talk about are some books. So, what I'm going to do tonight is we're going to talk about some of the books I have here that I wanted to bring to your attention. Some things that I have utilized, that I've read, that I've enjoyed, and things that are handy as a creator. And the first two of these are for tabletop role playing games. Okay. So the first one that we're going to talk about is The Anatomy of Adventure. Now, my copy is the second edition. I don't know if there's been a third. Author is MT Black. This was put out by MT Black Games in 2022. And there's a lot of interesting content in here. I would recommend that folks really take the time and enjoy this if you're going to get into creating tabletop role playing game content. I thought the chapter as the dungeon as a toy was a pretty interesting um, piece of data. There's a segment in here I was wanting to mark, but where is it? Here it is. Tower of the Mad Mage is one of the most popular adventures, having sold thousands of copies and enjoying a rating of 96% from over 50 reviews. The feedback has been enthusiastic and generous. People appreciate how easy the adventure is to run. They enjoy the encounter variety, and they love the swelsh. But one review received well over a year after publication will never leave his heart. And this goes on to talk about that review. And the rest of this says, this is why we write. The games we create are not an escape from reality. They provide life experiences that are profound, intense, and altogether real as any other, and the world would be so much poorer without them. And the reason I like that is that it speaks to the time you're spending with your friends playing your game. It spends to the time that you're taking out of your life to participate in that hobby. And it speaks to that sense of joy that you experience from the results. So if you're creating for tabletop role-playing game content, I think there's not much more to aspire to than to make the amount of time that people spend enjoying your product to be a fantastic experience. I think that is really, really something that you can't do often enough. So for all of you out there who are going to be creating new books for tabletop role-playing games, regardless of the system, whatever, I definitely recommend The Anatomy of Adventure, MT Black. I don't know this person. This is, of course, not a paid sponsorship because none of people see this. Anyone would want to sponsor us, but the book itself is pretty well written. I found it to be a real joy, and as someone who creates RPG content, I like to think that I have the wisdom not to assume I know it all. So learning from other people, regardless of what their bibliography says or what their time in the industry says, I think is very important for all of us, because sometimes new voices can bring new perspectives, and those new perspectives can often illuminate wisdom. So definitely keep that with you. Now we're going to go from Black to something from the fine folks at Kobold Press. Okay, so this is the Kobold Guide to World Building. Now this is an essay collection, but the pedigree in here is pretty damn phenomenal. You've got Zeb Cook in here. You've got Monte Cook in here. You've got Chris Pramis. I'll get it out there eventually. You've got Michael Stackpole, several others. So this is something that I think that any game master, any one who's going to be writing their own role-playing games, anyone who's touching on the hobby can find a sense of joy in here. This was actually released in 2012, and I find that the content in here is resonating stronger with me as the years go by. I mean, certainly it's informative for your game masters, and of course, informative for yourself as a game designer. Keith Baker in his section here, how to make a high magic world. There's a question they poses here. What is the nature of magic? And his discussion on this whole segment is really pretty intense. Like, for example, how does magic affect everyday life? How does it affect transportation, warfare, medicine? And what is the role of your protagonist? These kind of essays, I think, are a remarkable tool that, as a writer, as a game designer, you should keep in your tool belt, refer to them often. And whereas, you know, MT Black may not be the most well known of authors, when you've got content here from Stackpole and Cook, I mean, there's not much higher degree of pedigree in the TTRPG space, right? So definitely check that out. Again, that's the Kobold Guide to World Building, released in 2012. Fantastic work by the guys over at Kobold Press. And I need to look and see if they've released any more since then, because that's just an incredible resource. Now, we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to go more into the subject matter that I was hoping to speak to the other gentleman about, right? But this is one of those things that I've spoken about several times, and I've referred you guys to often. Kickstarter for the Independent Creator, a practical and informative guide to crowdfunding. Now, this is by Madeline Holly Rossing. This book is why I stopped writing my book on Kickstarter as a creator. And the reason being wasn't because the reason I stopped was literally just this book. It wasn't because I haven't hit 10K on a campaign. It wasn't because I've never hit 500 backers. It was because the information that Madeline presents here is incredibly insightful, very well put together, and an invaluable asset. Now, I have fulfilled, I think, 31 crowdfunding campaigns to date between Kickstarter, Crowdfunder, Indiegogo, and Fund My Comic. I keep this on my desk whenever I am doing new crowdfunding campaign planning, whenever I'm building. So in case I want to take and go through and check what basic processes I might have overlooked, because it really is a fantastic guide to constructing your plan for your crowdfunding campaign. And guys, you have to have a plan. Okay? You really have to have a plan. Your crowdfunding campaign does not end with the campaign reaching goal. It does not end when you get your Kickstarter money. It doesn't even end when you finish creating your product. You still have those final steps in the process of getting your rewards out to backers. And then beyond that, the next step in your process of bringing your creation to the world outside of the Kickstarter environment, whether that's as a successful business product, maybe a new comic series or new role-playing game or new board game, whatever, or if it's something you just did for yourself, getting copies out to friends and family outside of your campaign. Those kind of things are important to plan on before you have launched your product, okay? Before you've launched your campaign. Now, Madeline, this is, I believe, the second edition of this, I believe. Or is this my first edition copy? This is my second edition copy. This one was released in 2017. Kickstarter was very different about that. Now, I did remark on one of Madeline's social media posts about this book. She said that she was thinking about maybe revisiting it. So we might see a third edition. I kind of hope so. I'd love to see her updates. With this, there's a lot that you can learn just in how she communicates to you. There is a even like chapter 1, choosing a platform. In here, she's acknowledging even that Kickstarter is not the sole platform in the crowdfunding space. You can target your audience, um, and should really. And there's information about Indiegogo, about Kickstarter, Seed, and Spark, which I don't know if even is still operational anymore. Um, and then even questions about Patreon and GoFundMe. So there's a lot there that you can take a look at just from the content about the examples that she provides at that time. She speaks too about interacting with Twitter, which is now X, and things about using Facebook, Tumblr, Reddit, LinkedIn, Instagram, being on blogs and doing interviews. Guys, I can't oversell this. As a creator, you can certainly create and run your Kickstarters without this book. But I think that even if you've done 10, 20, 30 campaigns in the past, pick this up, read through it, digest the material, and I think that you'll find that you do even better. Madeline has found tremendous success in the crowdfunding area and is one hell of a fantastic writer and creator. And so definitely give her a follow on her social media channels as well. Oh, wow. That went by a lot faster than I expected to. Let's see here. Bear with me. We've got a message that came through the DMs. And no, I'm not going to dignify that with a response. Okay. So what we will do, though, is we're going to go into Twitter/X and post a link to the drive-through. And guys, you'll find that we have a lot of our comics, the digitals, are on sale for $1 right now, with the exception of the Reign of Ages issue 4 book, which is still at Kickstarter prices. That's going to remain so probably through September, because we just released it to our backers last month, and I think that's just a fair way to do it. Now, one thing I would also like to bring up, guys, if you have any comments, any questions, any criticisms, or concerns, please do feel free to post them in the comments, either on Twitter or on YouTube. I have both of them feeding into me, so I should be able to see your comments. We're going to test that a little bit to see if there's any problems with seeing me here. There we go. Okay. So yes, it's coming up okay. We can see everyone now loud and clear. That's good. And guys, hey, Fatal J, what's up, man? We're going over a lot of stuff, man. We've been talking about books concerning tabletop role-playing games. We've been just got done talking about Kickstarter for the Independent Creator by Madeline Holly Rossing. This is that book I recommended to you about running your crowdfunding campaigns. Yes, I still keep it on my desk. Sorry, guys. And I've been shilling a little bit. I put links to the drive-through RPG site into the chats where people can go forth and see the Sonopus stuff. But Jay, man, go ahead and make sure you're posting questions in here. Obviously, I want to respond to everything anyone has to say. We are capping tonight at an hour because I need to get some more stuff done tonight. I didn't get everything I needed done this weekend, but we're going to keep working on it. One thing I would like to, where did I put that? There it is. Would like to share. Walter Giovanni is doing, well, I guess I should say has done one of the covers for Reign of Ages issue 5, which is one of the things I'm trying to finish writing. This is his line art and inks. We are not going to do the digital scan on here because we don't want that ending up into the ether. But Nick Capone is going to be coloring that. Should be not this coming week, but like 2 weeks after that. And we should have the the final on that, so that looked pretty good. Um, I have let me see if I can get this right here. This is the original art page for Tibby's 4th of July art print that Damian Torres did. We are going to be taking that with us to Cincinnati, to the Cincinnati Fan Expo, where we're going to be selling comics and role playing game books and original art. Jay, come back, man. Don't run off and leave us. Now, I did take, like I said to you guys earlier, I did take a message EV Comics to see if he'd be interested in showing up. I don't think he's seen it yet because he hasn't responded. So maybe another time we can get him on if he doesn't show up tonight. And then just talk about crowdfunding and maybe some process discussion so that we can see, hey, this is how you can get this fulfillment done. This is how you can get books out to 200, 300 people. And I think that for a lot of creators, that conversation is something they kind of don't think about very much until they land there, right? So my first campaign, I think we had 70 backers, I think something like that. And I had miscalculated the postage. I had all the print production costs and all that right, but I miscalculated the postage. So I came a little bit out of pocket by the time everything was said and done. But I didn't do that again. So the whole thing about crowdfunding is that it will teach you as you go things that you shouldn't do, and it will teach you as you go how to implement your processes and how to become more efficient, and it will teach you a little bit about project management. So that's this next thing we're going to talk about, and this is where I'm going to share a little inside baseball about my daughter's anime cosplay pen. Her cosplaying started this year, right? So she is already through the summer. That was her cosplay for the early part of the year. We were out dress shopping earlier. We saw a few things. She's going to take her mother with her later this coming week, I believe, and they're going to go back and check some things and just pick out something that we can all agree with. And then she'll have her just two more things that we're going to finish cobbling together for her fall cosplay, and we'll then get into the project management like we're talking about here. So she is looking at this from a budget perspective, calculating costs, and then we're going to have the conversations with the artists who are designing the pen and who are designing the trading cards. And so that will make sure that we have her deeply engrossed and understanding these important process steps. Now, she'll be going over that and having meetings with me and the artists here in about 2 weeks. As we have the trading card coming in 4 days as far as the art, and then we'll order that, and then we should have that about 11 days after that. So about 2 weeks from tomorrow, which would put us right on August 31st to Tuesday, September 1st, we'll have those in. And then once those are in, we will do the Kickstarter campaign to fund production of the of that big mass production run, so that we can get like 1,500 or so pens made, because the pens are the expensive part of that proposition. And so we're going to go through and I'm going to show her how we calculate our reward tiers, how we calculate our anticipated shipping. I'm going to take and show her where you look up to see when the next scheduled postage increases are likely to happen, right? And getting that information together so that she can start formulating her plan. And then we'll go ahead and also shoot the video for the Kickstarter campaign. And I think what we're going to do as well is that we're going to take and maybe apply for the Kickstarter Culture Fund on this. Um, because it's a little thing, but the declaration on this says it's the Kickstarter Culture Fund is $1 million fund supporting independent creators in arts, which I think this would classify for fashion, film, and music through contributions to their Kickstarter campaign. The fund marks Kickstarter's first direct investment in creative ideas, fueling the power of belief with meaningful financial support. Now, do I expect that she's going to get any support in this effort? No. And that's not a dig on Kickstarter. That's just that everyone and their mother and their pet monkey is applying um, for those funds. And I think that's fine. I think that Kickstarter would have to understand that if they make something like that available, that there's going to be an application from a huge number of the Kickstarter creator community, right? And you're going to see people, I think, in a wide array of it. Personally, I am probably also going to apply for that for one of our art print campaigns, which will probably precede the pen campaign, because we'll do that much like we did the last one, and hopefully get some cool art prints out to everybody. But I think things like that bring us a lot of invigoration into the Kickstarter creator community. So I like that they have done this. I don't know how much they're planning on putting into individual campaigns. I haven't read as deeply into it really as I should. But one of the things about this that really makes me wonder, will they take and put like $5 into a campaign or $50 or $500, right? With $1 million fund available, that's pretty significant. And the other thing I wonder is, will their donation to that actually see 10% of that come back out for Kickstarter? I wonder how they are approaching that. If any of you happen to know the answer to that, thanks, Fatal J, man. I appreciate you, bro. But if anyone has any information about that, let me know. Now, the whole process, we get her through that Kickstarter campaign, even though she's, helped me with fulfillment and like, carrying packages and stuff like that. She's going to be working with me on fulfillment of her campaign. So she'll see, hey, how do we do our backer survey? Why do we do our backer survey? What kind of information do we need, right? And what do we do for things like add-ons? So one of the things about add-ons that I really kind of thought was neat was that we can sit there and say, okay, hey, do we want to do an add-on like, hey, she'll sign your trading card, right? Or do we want to put up something like, hey, do you want to add any bonus contribution to the campaign? Any bonus contribution to the campaign, Willow signs your card, something like that. I think that's kind of a cool idea as well. Just something to get her a little more active into it. Fatal J says, you fulfill your own comics. I go through RJ for overseas packages. He's really got great. Yes. Yeah. RJ does a fantastic job. I do all my own crowdfunding fulfillment. I actually maintain a stamps.com account, which does have a monthly subscription, by the way, but I write that off on the end of year taxes as an operational expense. So that kind of offsets some things. It's funny when you think about it, really, because like the drive-through revenue comes to us as a royalty, right? Which is important because it means that the sales tax isn't processed by us, it's processed by the platform, right? So that income comes in every month, whether it's $50, or $100 or whatever it is on a given month, right? In fact, that makes me wonder, have we, because I cleared out the account, I transferred the money out of the account because, hey, we got middle of the month, it's time for like a couple of the bills to be paid. So since we have I think that was Friday that we emptied the account. What are we looking at? So since Friday, it's been not too bad. We've made $4.86 in 2 days. So, yeah, if we stick to our average, we should probably, yeah, we should probably finish with another, what's that, $30 by the end of the month. So yeah, it looks like we're on track for like a $70 month. Not bad, man. Not bad. Well, actually, Fatal J. Okay, so for those of you who don't see this, Fatal J is saying you need to write a book with art in it about indie comic business. I'll tell you, I think that the people I'd rather see produce that book, um, and I mean, from just being flat out open and honest about it, I would like to see Tim Lin create a book like that. But, and this is something that I know that all of us would really go absolutely nuts for, is if we had Brian Polito create that kind of book. Because Brian really is, I would like to think, the pinnacle with regard to crowdfunding success through the Kickstarter platform with regard to comics, right? And by that I mean the all the way through, because he's not only been getting high level pledge amounts and high number of backers, but he's been absolutely precise about executing fulfillment and holding on to his fan base. Unlike certain other creators who had success with mainstream comics and their own indie comic companies before, um, he has not hurt his fan base through his crowdfunding efforts. If anything, he's grown his fan base through his crowdfunding efforts. And I think that sets him in very rare company, because the only person I can think of who had mainstream success prior to that and is seeing that success with the same continuity, the same ability to expand and grow continually, it would be Billy Tucci. Um, and well, I guess also, but to a slightly lesser financial degree, Jimmy Palmiotti. Now, that is not to say anything bad about Jimmy. I think Jimmy's amazing. But he's putting up great numbers, but not really Brian Polito numbers. You know what I mean? But it's not a contest. He's successful by any metric. And Fail J says Dave Sims has a book like that, but it's freaking overwhelming actually on the book. I have not seen that. Fail J, if you would, could you go ahead and put the title, or if it's on Amazon or something else, if you can put that link into the chat so everyone else can see that, that would be absolutely amazing, man. So we could see that, and people who would be interested in it could actually get a hold of it. I think that'd be pretty good. Looks like we've got 5 people viewing on Twitter and just 1 person on YouTube. Okay. 6 is fine by me. Oh man. It does be like that sometimes, right? Like when we first started the Live at 9 stuff, we had like 20, 30 people at a time. And then we got like 70 and then 80 and then 90. And then we kind of fell off because I was gone for a while. You know, we had a lot of family things went on. And now it's just a matter of going to have to try to get it back there again. But that's okay, because the key thing is the people who show up, we want to provide the authentic experience. We want to give them the information that we have. Now, one thing I did find today, I had this done as a test item last year before. Yay, Larry's here too. I had this done as a test item through Printful. And this is just a little hardbound notebook. Obviously, as a print-on-demand thing, it's a little expensive. But the cool thing is that it's just an example of some of those neat merchandise items that you can make. Always meant to start carrying this around and just take my notes and stuff with it. But then I set it in my bookshelf and I kind of forgot that it was there. So now I'm going to be carrying it around again alongside my Miskatonic High uh, notebook and get everything going there. Now, Sam, this is the title of the book: Cerebus Guide to Self-Publishing by Dave Sim, Aardvark, Vanaheim, 1997. All right, cool deal. So that's the early days of Amazon, right? I wonder if that's got some of the Amazon insights on there. Now, Amazon has changed a lot. Okay, so let's talk about something tangentially related to that. And I say tangentially because I don't want to speak to the Amazon experience because I have very limited sales experience on there. I have one title on Amazon and that's it. And I need to put more, and I will. But one thing I will tell you is that I have a very dear friend of mine. He was a buddy of mine in high school. He is one of the people who inspired me to get back to writing and making stuff. And he writes little novellas. And in fact, let me do this. His name is Micah McGurk, and he writes a number of different titles. But one of the ones of his that I like the most called Boom Girl. Let me find where that is. Boom Girl by Micah. There we go. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and share this with y'all. He could use an editor, but I think we all could to some extent. Get the link in there. And I'm going to do this. Okay. So, Boom Girl, it is on Kindle. So if you just want to go ahead and read it and contribute as KDP, that's good. But Micah's a good dude. He also wrote Crimson 37 and then My Face Knows Winter. I think there's a couple of others that he's put out in addition to that. Yeah, here we go. So definitely check him out. The dude is a remarkable talent. Actually, I haven't read She Brings Hellfire yet. I did like Crimson 37, but Boom Girl, I think, has been my favorite one so far. But now it looks like I'm going to have to read this one. I don't know how I missed that. But yeah, definitely check him out. He is a funny dude. And but his books are really, really, really good. So definitely give those a shot. But when you are let's see here, Sam, I thought about writing comic novellas. It'd be a way to get books out faster. I'm interested in this guy. I interviewed a guy one time. He said books sell faster than comics at conventions. The books I sell at conventions are TTRPG books so far. And so they have a very niche audience. But that being said, whenever Micah and I are at conventions, where specifically we've been at like local book events and stuff in Richmond, Kentucky, he sells very steadily in there. Now I don't pry about the number or anything, but I've seen his books move off tables pretty swiftly. Now, comparatively, I did okay too. But I will tell you, the event in question, the last one that we were at the same time, he probably sold more novellas than I did RPG books, and I probably sold more comics than he did novellas. My comic price point's a little lower, and so that has a price advantage. And there we go. And Fail J says, "Let me know the next convention you go to in Texas." I would like. There's one in Austin that I hear is really, really good. I think I'd like to go to that, but there's also a couple others. Like there's one in the Dallas Fort Worth area I hear is pretty good, and then San Antonio, where Anarch Press is. I'm hoping that I can get one local there and come down and see Ben and them again. They were incredibly gracious to us when we were down there for the Anarch Press 40th, and Willow absolutely loved meeting them. So that was pretty good. My next convention appearance is at the Cincinnati Fan Expo, September 25th, 26th, 27th. So we have, okay, we're going to take a big tangent here for a second, guys, okay? So we have picked up a lot of other gear with regards to that fan expo, right? So we've got new display stuff for our mugs. Try and do this without breaking everything. These little acrylic little stands that they have different heights and then they scale up so that you can have more in display in a nice small area. Picked up a button display for the Reign of Ages buttons that we sell. And then we picked up 4 more 8-foot tall grid wall sections. And the reason we did that, I'm going to use this as an illustration on this, is normally we'd get like a corner booth, right? So you have 2 10-foot pieces of frontage to your attendees. But for Cincy, we got our corner booth and the next 10-foot inline. So instead of having 20 feet of space where we would just have 10 feet across of our grid wall, now we've got 30 feet. And so 20 of it is this 20-foot line, right? So we're taking and we're running our grid wall right along here. And so we've got 7 8-foot tall, 2-foot wide grid wall panels. And so between the space allotted for the feet to hold it up, it's going to come out to be, I think the calculation was just under 16 feet. And so we will have that with all of with art prints, with original art pages, things of that nature, to go ahead and show off and just let people see what it is we're bringing. And then we will have Willow's pens, trading cards. We'll do that in conjunction with the crowdfunding campaign to raise money for the project, right? And then the buttons, the tabletop role-playing game stuff, the comics, all of that. And I may actually also be bringing some T-shirts from our other product line that's been developed. We haven't talked a lot about this, but we have a product line that's being built for marijuana fans, because my brother is a medical marijuana user, which is probably more than I should say on the internet. I won't specify which brother, but so I've created a ganja gang of different characters and their associated wackiness, and we're turning those into cool little merchandise items, T-shirts and whatnot. Not glassware yet, but that's something we're looking at. Now the fun part is that of course we have these illustrations that are done. Sandra Cole herself did the Ganja Goblin, and then I am getting the Weed Wizard done, and then we have a third character, and I've gone back and forth on the name, but this is our goth witch girl, and her marijuana aficionado name is, like I said, still in development, trying to land on the perfect one. Yeah, maybe Gwendolyn the Green Goth. I don't know yet, but she's a cool looking character. So we'll see. I think Larry will approve. I think Max will love it. I think Phil will go, "What, dude? What?" So that'll be cool. I'm just picking on you, Phil. I'm just picking on you. Yeah, Fail J says I missed AP Con. I've been to San Antonio a million times. I've been to San Antonio a handful of times. I was there for a couple of different martial arts competitions in the 80s. I was there on a security detail in the 90s. That didn't go over too well. I drove through it like 4 o'clock in the morning one time in the 90s because I had to get across Texas. Like I had to get across Texas because I was supposed to be in Arkansas, and so I had to haul ass. And I drove through San Antonio when I was cutting across the state. Mostly because I was using, this was in the time before GPS, so I was using paper maps, and I knew I could get gas in San Antonio. Um, and then of course the Anarch Press 40th, which was just a blast. Yep. Well, guys, we are coming up on 50 minutes on this. I am not one to waste anyone's time, so I'm not going to take and just try to pull random bullshit out of my ass on this. But I do want to say thank all of you who have come out and watched this. Huge thanks to everyone who watches this after it's live, whether you're on YouTube or on X. Greatly appreciate it. Please do give us a like and share it around to help us continue to get out the word on our live at 9. For EV Comics, if you happen to see this and you want to have a conversation about crowdfunding, and maybe we can discuss some things, I might learn something, you might learn something. Definitely check it out. All right. But huge thanks to Larry Patrick Higgins, creator of Niobe, for showing up. For Fatal J, do you have your book out somewhere where people can buy it? If you do, post a link in the chat, okay, so people can find and buy your cool stuff. Because Fatal J has a comic too, guys. That's it. That's the thing about comic creators. There are people all over the place who make comics, and you'd probably never know it because they come in every size and every shape, every hairstyle and every age, whether they're bald or bushy haired, if they look like refugee metalheads, or if they look like corporate citizens. There's people out there who will surpass your who will surpass your expectations with their ability to bring to life these wonderful creations called comic books. And there's just as many people from just as many varied backgrounds creating role-playing games, board games, video games. It's fantastic. So Ninja Blast 2 is about ready too, yeah. Do you have a link to the first Ninja Blast so that people can pick it up? If so, go ahead and put it there. And Fatal J, if you're not selling it on digital on Drive-Thru Comics, brother, let me put that in your ear. Check out Drive-Thru Comics. I am non-exclusive with them, so they take 35% of every sale, but that just means I can sell to every other platform without anyone giving me any problems. And they've been really, really good to me. Rockefort. There you go, man. There you go. That's badass. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thanks for hanging out with us live at 9. Please remember to stay hydrated, take good care of yourself. If you have any medication, hey, Warren, what's up? We were just shutting down, man. Lauren, that would be Lauren. I was trying to say Lunchbox and Warren at the same time. Warren, Lunchbox Comics. The Fatal J, the website is Drive-Thru Comics. The link to Drive-Thru is in the chat. I posted it up there when I was talking about where my stuff is too. Definitely check that out. But Warren also puts out a absolutely fantastic comic himself. Warren, can you post the link to Sig and Joe for me in the chat so that people can see where to find your book, how to get their own copy? Yeah. Outstanding. Warren, I want you to know, man, that I listened to you and I try to make sure that I put my closing statement together pretty clearly. You and Pete both had a really, really strong influence on that. So appreciate it. And so every time when we go to close out the stream for Live at 9, we tell people, hey, make sure you take care of yourself, stay hydrated. If you have to take medication, make sure you take it right and on time. Don't be too hard on yourself. Get plenty of rest. And remember, in a world where you can choose to be anything. Please choose to be kind. And I normally end right there. But today, when I was saying that, my buddy, our friend Max DeVille, said, and remember, don't be a communist. And I laughed so hard I thought I was going to piss myself. Oh, we're in a world where you can choose to be anything. Please choose to be kind and not a communist. Absolutely hysterical. Oh, man. Ah, anyone think I'll get heat from the commies out there? I don't have anything against the commies. I have things against communism, if that makes any sense. But guys, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Remember to be kind to one another as well as yourself. And I will see you next Sunday, same time for Live at